Welcome back to Sports Talk ATL. I am Chase Earl, joined by Alex Lord and Jake Gordon. The Hawks made a very surprising move over the last week, extending shooting guard Bogdan Bogdanovic to a 4-year, $68 million deal. He declined his player option for next season, so that deal kicks in next year. Bogey's been pretty good for the Hawks this year, but when you look at this roster, and the Hawks are on the verge of probably the most average history in the NBA. I mean, they're probably going to finish 500. I think if you look at their points against and points for, they've been like even throughout the whole season. I mean, it
Yeah.
is the definition of average. Clearly, some big moves need to be made if they want to be contenders, which they're trying to still be, and they will try to still be going into next season. It just kind of feels like they just don't really have any plan of where they're going with this team.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I don't think it's a bad deal, but this is a guy that, people were talking about how are we going to move on from him, and a team that's tried to skirt the cap in some areas and, tried to compete in other areas. They're just weirdly built. And I'm on record saying this. I think they peaked too early. It happens all the time in sports. They had a nice run to the Eastern Conference Finals, but, the teams they beat were flawed. And I think they peaked a little too early. They maybe made some rash moves. They may have done some things they shouldn't, but what can you do? The NBA is a hard league to win in, especially if you don't have multiple superstars. But I think Bogey's a good piece. I hate that we keep saying this, but I think his contract is tradable somewhat if he can stay healthy, which has been an issue. But I don't know. I don't hate the deal. I don't love it. I think it's just kind of like the Hawks. I think it's just kind of average.
Yeah.
I hate the deal. I'll say it. Now, let me preface what I'm about to say by saying if he stays healthy, the deal is worth it. But this is a 30-year-old with well-documented knee issues who has missed around 25 games every season for the last 3 years now. It's hard not to look at this deal and think back to Kevin Huerter, who's a younger, now better player on a similar contract.
Pretty much the exact same. 4 for 70 with Kevin Huerter.
What are we doing? And let's think to next year, like you guys are talking about. We're already about 8 to 10 million, I think the last time I checked, over salary cap. So moves are coming if we're still trying to stay under the cap. Who knows what Quinn Snyder's hiring has done to the wrestlers, and maybe they've changed their mind about, being in that luxury tax. This is just another mind-boggling move, in my opinion. Listen, I love Bogey as much as the next guy. He was the second best player on that Eastern Conference Final run. The Serbian sniper, I love him, and he could be great in Quinn Snyder's offense. He's just, he's a sharpshooter. It's what he was, and Quinn Snyder's gonna accentuate that strength. But the dude hasn't stayed healthy, and it's not like knees just get better, especially if you're on the wrong side of 30. We just traded a better player, and now it's a great deal in a vacuum. But when you consider all the other moves the team has done, it just leaves a sour taste in my mouth. I have no hope for this team. I'm just being, I've never been so pessimistic about one of my favorite teams in my life, like the Hawks. I mean, they give me no hope.
Yeah, we'll hop on board. I've been there for a few weeks. Welcome to the bandwagon. It's not that bad over here. You can just badmouth the owners and badmouth everything they do and be a sourpuss. It's not that bad over here. Listen, I don't think the deal's terrible. I think that's probably about what he's worth. I think he's a good fit for what Quinn Snyder's trying to do and what he's trying to turn this team into. I think that's why they made this deal so swiftly after the coaching change. I think he definitely had a say in that, which is good to see. You hope that he has some influence over what's going on. That's why you brought him in. But I agree. The Kevin Huerter deal is pretty much the exact same. He's a better player. He's an ascending player. The injury concerns are real with Bogdan Bogdanovic, even though I do think they probably did their due diligence in that area and believe that he doesn't have some chronic issue where it's going to be like a huge problem over the rest of his career. And if he plays 50, 60 games and is healthy when it matters, he's going to be worth this contract. But listen, it's a worse move than Kevin Huerter, and you got nothing for Kevin Huerter in return. And he's done great things with the Kings. The Kings have like the second or third best record in the Western Conference. So there's really no way to be like, oh, I'm super happy about this. And when you look at what the Hawks need, you just kind of think, well, that's not moving the needle. They're not going to get better by bringing a player back when they're already the most average team in the NBA. And then you look around there, well, who could they move? DeAndre Hunter? They're probably going to get worse doing that if he's even movable. John Collins? He's not movable at this point. You just got to hope he gets better. So you're looking at, oh, well, how is this team going to improve? And you're just hoping Quinn Snyder can make, crap happen. And I just don't believe that's possible with this roster.
Yeah.
If Bogey can play 60 games over the next 4 seasons and experience some positive regression defensively, because he has been terrible defensively this year, then the deal is much more palatable. But for a team on the brink of potentially blowing it up, that seems like an unnecessary risk.
Well, Quinn Snyder's a win now coach, which is, I guess, the direction they're going in. It's going to have to be one way or the other. And, you already traded away a lot of your picks to get DeJounte Murray. So tearing it down now really doesn't make sense. You have a win now coach. It's just the direction you're going to have to go now.
Yeah, they've kind of backed themselves into a corner and trying to win now. And it's not going to work, but it's what they are going to do.